Okay. It's 11:30, so I have to be because my roommate is trying to sleep. Well, one of them is trying to sleep, and another is going to overhear me and think that I'm crazy. Which I am. But I got movies. I got reviews, so let's get through this. I'm currently moving to another location, so my setup is not what I usually have. I put up this rug just to have some sort of better decor behind me. Behind it is a loom that I made where I'm making a rug. It'll look nothing like that if I ever even finish it. Rugs, hand knotted rugs take a long ass time to make. Hand woven, like Kalim type stuff, flat weave, significantly less time than knotted, but knotting takes so long. So I don't know if I'm ever actually going to finish it, but which is not to say that I can't. Like I used to knit, and the reason I stopped knitting is just because it takes a while. It takes a while, and knitting takes far less time than rug making. But damn, I just got better things to do with my time. You know, I understand now pretty thoroughly the Persian knot and the Turkish knot, so short of like trying double weft weaving, because I'm only doing single weft weaving, you know, like it's not worth my time. I'm not gonna like make money off of this. It'll just be for fun. So I don't know. Movies. Marine. Alfred Hitchcock. Didn't actually watch it. The tape is messed up. I think the release for the stops on the wheels is not pushing in enough. I opened up the case. That's my thought. So I didn't actually watch it. But I've got a couple Hitchcock movies, and growing up, Hitchcock always was like so well regarded, like in my family or something. Like it's like, oh, Alfred Hitchcock, really great movies. And I watched like Rear Window, Psycho, Birds when I was growing up as a youngin', and I was like, oh wow, these are so good. And recently I've rewatched, I think I rewatched Rear Window, and then I've seen a couple other ones. Maybe they're in here, maybe I've already reviewed them. I'm just not that good. It's just like, I guess it was probably good for the time compared to other movies that were out in the 50s. But yeah. Like it's fine, but I wouldn't recommend anyone watch a Hitchcock movie. Uptown Girls. This was fun. What year is this? Like 90... Oh, 2003. Okay. Yeah, Uptown Girls, Dakota Fanning and Brittany Murphy. Really unfortunate. She died at like 30-something. Yeah. This is a fun movie. She was really rich, and then I think she lost everything and had to nanny this rich kid, and they both bonded over not having a dad. It was a sweet movie. It was good. I'm gonna try to move through this. Also, usually I get excited, so I talk louder, but I am going to try. Well, I always talk loud. I'm gonna try to be respectful of the time and of my own social standing by keeping it quiet. So anyway, out of 5 stars, I always do out of 5 stars. Where 3 is just, this is a movie, it's fine. 2 to 3 stars is like, not that good, but whatever. 1 to 2 is like, don't watch it. 3 to 4 is like, it's a good movie. And then 4 to 5 is like, anyway, this movie, I'm gonna say, it's like a 3.3. It's a fun movie. I wouldn't say don't watch it. This movie I was just watching today. Usually I have so many tapes to get through, so I don't like pay close attention to a movie unless it's like known in my head of like, this is a well-regarded movie, you should watch it. So this one I didn't pay close attention to. I ended up turning it off because it's not like it was bad, but it seemed like it was more of a drama movie, so I would have had to been paying more attention to get anything out of it. And sometimes I just hit a point of like, well, yeah, a place where I say, what's the point? So that I don't say point twice in a sentence. And it's just, didn't feel that interesting. I'm guessing it's 82? No, 81. 1981. Sally Field, Paul Newman. Absence of Malice. Like some dude is, okay, in America, can a man be guilty until proven innocent? Suppose you picked up this morning's newspaper and your life was a front page headline, and everything they said was accurate, but not true. This is a dilemma that must be faced in this timely drama about the incredible power of the press. Michael Gallagher, a legitimate businessman, reads in the paper that he is the subject of a criminal investigation. Suddenly, everything he has ever worked for is in jeopardy. He confronts the author, a relentless investigative reporter, Megan Carter, Sally Field. Together they learned that the story was purposely leaked to Carter as part of a plot by the chief investigator. Gallagher's life hangs in the balance as he and Carter try to uncover the truth. It sounds like it probably would have been good if I stuck with it, but I don't know. Something about me just didn't care. So I'm not even going to give it a rating. The Birds, I didn't bother to rewatch it. I'm just getting rid of it. Sorry. This is a terrible movie review. We're getting through some crap things real quick. Tora. I didn't actually watch. I've seen this before years ago. I watched like this tape was like not rewound, so I watched like the last 20 minutes of it, and I feel like I remember everything. It's well done. A lot of warbirds in it, blown up. So if you care about the fact that like some really historic warplanes no longer exist because they were blown up on a movie set, you can thank this. But it's a well done movie, documents well Pearl Harbor and how we very clearly missed signals that like the attack was coming. So it's a good movie. I like it. It's well done. Another one that I turned off without finishing, Up Close and Personal, Robert Redford and Michelle Pfeiffer. When is this, like 93 or something? I don't know why I care. It's just nice to have stuff in my head. Damn, where they put the year on this shit? Am I just missing it? The fuck? I'm not seeing a year on this. Anyway, she wants to be on the news as a news anchor. He's like the director behind the news or whatever. He's a misogynist and pretty terrible to her, but then they fall in love, so he's not as terrible. And then there's just such long scenes of them like kissing and going on vacation, then going back to reality, and then going back and kissing and all this stuff. It's just like, it's just stupid. Maybe it got better at the end, but by like the second really long, intense kissing scene of them like just playfully on a beach, like running in the water, it's just like, this is too long and kind of really dumb, so I turned it off. 2.1 stars. 2 stars. 1.9. We'll give it a 1.9. Broken Arrow. Was this all in black and white? Do I not remember it being in black and white? I think it was in color. Yeah, it says Technicolor. When is this, in the 50s? 1950. I have to know what year Up Close and Personal was. $1996. Okay. Anyway, this movie was about this guy that I think had been fighting in like whatever war we were fighting, if it even was a war, the time in the mid-1800s when we were killing Native Americans because Manifest Destiny and everything else. This guy decides that he don't want to fight no more, and he learns, like, I think Apache, learns the Apache language and the culture, and like essentially becomes like a friend to them, and kind of gets disowned by the white people. They try to kill him at some point, some bad egg white people. There's like a ceasefire between the whites and the Native Americans. And it's like they have to keep the ceasefire for 3 months, and if they manage to do that, then the war is over. It gets complicated. he marries a Native American gal. It's a good enough movie. Classic issue of the 1950s with westerns or Native American starred movies, themed movies, whatever. It's like all the Native American folk are played by white people. So there's that to keep in mind. If that bothers you, then totally fair. But also, it's kind of just a product of its time. So I don't want to say get over yourself, but like, hey, that's like, yes, we know now that like we can have native folk play native folk, but that was what was going on at the time. And for a piece of cinema here, it doesn't seem to paint Native Americans as like savages as some other movies of the time did. It's very much more humanizing, I should say. Which for that I enjoyed it a lot. And I always like a pacifist. I hate war. War is really stupid. Yeah, I enjoyed this. I'm gonna give it a 3.8. It was good. 3.85. It was a good movie. I enjoyed it. Barbershop, starring Ice Cube. It was pretty wild. Ice Cube owns a barbershop that he inherited from his father, who he inherited from his grandfather, I think. So it's been in the family. He ends up selling it, though, to Keith David, who's a loan shark, and immediately regretting it because Keith David says he's going to like turn it into a strip club. And I think Ice Cube sold because it like wasn't making any money. And then some old barber, this guy, it's like, it was never about the money, it was about the community. And Ice Cube's like, yeah, damn. And all that ensues. It was a pretty good movie, I thought. For what it was. Like, I don't feel like it was trying to do anything crazy, but it was a good movie. I enjoyed it. I always love Keith David. I'm gonna give it a 3.4. It was good. Was it good? It's hard to remember. And I'd be talking a lot louder and more excited. Like, I have to restrain myself in a lot of ways right now. This guy was like white or Pakistani or something, and like, oh, he's trying to be black, and then some other, this guy's like the black guy that's going to college, and everyone's like, oh, he's trying to be white, and those two fought. Point being. I don't remember actually if it was like that good or that bad. 3.2. 3.2 will be my rating. It's a fine movie. Pardon me while I drink some Joe. Vanette with Sandra Bullock. I feel like I didn't watch all this, but I'm pretty sure I did. This had to be like, what, 92 or something? How old is Sandra Bullock? I'm sorry, Sandra, are you old or young? 95. I love Sandra Bullock. She's a cutie, a hottie. I don't like... Well, anyway, Julia Roberts. I don't find her attractive at all. This is a bad movie, though. The freelance software analyst Angela Bennett is inadvertently drawn into a dangerous conspiracy when a client asks her to debug a CD-ROM game. Soon, the client turns up dead, and Angela is next on the hit list after the assassins obliterate her official identity. Right. These people end up like completely stealing her identity, her job, like there's an impersonator in her job, all this different stuff. It's pretty wild. Yeah. She's like a hacker girl, awkward hacker girl. It's funny whenever they cast Sandra Bullock as like an awkward, nerd, like no one will ever love him, like in While You Were Sleeping I watched recently. It's probably in here still. It's like, no, she's like the most gorgeous person to ever cross Hollywood. She's absolutely not an awkward person. Well, sorry, she can be awkward, but she's not like the... You can't dress her up and make her look not attractive. She's just very attractive. This movie, though, was really stupid. I really don't remember much more about it, but it was pretty dumb. I'm going to say like 2.5. Marathon of Steam. It's a train documentary. Talked about narrow gauge trains and rotary snowplow trains. Rotary snowplow, right there. If you like trains, it's fine. If you don't, it's not that great. Of documentaries, though, I didn't find it the most engaging. Like, you know, a documentary about anything can be done really well and can be super engaging, and that just wasn't the most engaging, so maybe like 2.8, I don't know. Megiddo, the Omega Code 2. This was about the apocalypse, the Battle of Armageddon. The main character's name is, main character is Stone Alexander, and his brother David, who later becomes the President of the United States. Stone becomes the leader of the UN, and then ultimately a political entity that is basically the entire world except for China and the US. Yeah, this movie surprised me by beforehand having interviews with some popular Christian figures of the time that are like, they're like, look at the signs all around you, the end times are here, Jesus is coming back, and the world's about to end. It was really interesting that they had that. Especially given this was like 2001, damn. Really? I'm surprised. The interviews felt like mid-90s. Anyway, not the worst movie. Stone Alexander, in the beginning of the movie, when he's like a 4-year-old kid, his, I think it's supposed to be his mom died in childbirth, giving birth to his brother David, and his maid or dad says something like, she gave her life so that your son could live, a life for a life. And he's like, a life for a life. And then he literally sets his baby brother and crib on fire. But his brother is like saved and becomes the president. Gets really weird during the actual battle scene where Stone Alexander, who like becomes the devil more or less, he uses like mystical devil powers throughout. But he sheds his human skin and is like the devil in full form and flesh. Sorry for the shadows, this is crazy. Yeah, it ends up being like the world versus China and the US. And then of course like Jesus comes back, chariots and all of that. And like this lightning kind of goes across the world and kills all of the people that are not God's people. Which essentially is anyone that's not an American dies when Jesus comes back, and every single American is saved. And it's really funny to just say that like there are no potential for believers to be under the regime of Stone Alexander, the Antichrist. That not only that, but all Americans would be saved in the second coming of Jesus. So it's really funny. This is one of those movies where it's not a good movie. It's not good. It's not like heinous. It's not a really bad movie. Like it's entertaining enough. But if you want to watch a really stupid movie, like it's great. If you want to watch a good movie, it's not good. But it's also like not such a bad movie that it's unwatchable. So I feel weird trying to rate it, but let me say it's a 2.89. You know, not quite a 2.9. That's really stupid and picky of me. French Kiss, Meg Ryan and Kevin Kline. When Sandra Bullock fails to be super attractive, which doesn't happen, Meg Ryan is there to pick you up. To carry the torch, let's say. This movie I think was like Meg Ryan's fiance goes to France for like some business trip or something and meets somebody there, breaks up with Meg over phone and like gets engaged to this French person, and Meg ends up going to France to like I don't know, see him or get back, or like, I forget, but ends up finding Kevin Kline here, who's like a swindler, but swindler and a swooner, because they fall in love. It was kind of dumb. My problem is I find Meg Ryan very attractive, but I've only seen one movie with her, and that I felt like she was a tolerable character, and that was like, what's it called? In Medal of Honor, or like in Battle. Ah, shoot. It's a Denzel Washington movie as well, where she plays like a captain, something colonel, I don't know, in Afghanistan, or Desert Storm, which is not Afghanistan, in Iraq. Anyway, like, I don't know, this in, shit, Sleepless in Seattle, in, what's that other one, When Harry Met Sally. I find her really annoying, which I don't know if it's like typecasting, her playing to her strength, whatever, but I usually find her annoying despite very attractive. This movie was also fairly annoying. I give it a 2.6. A lot of bad movies here. Young Sherlock Holmes, Steven Spielberg, I think. What do you want to know? It's Sherlock Holmes, but he's young. And in this, the threat ends up being like some weird, like supernaturally Egyptian cult thing that like they keep killing people by shooting them with hallucinogenic darts. I forgot the hallucinations always end up being like people imagine things come to life around them and are trying to kill them, and it's always like little goblin-y type things. Like, I don't know, they'll just be like, they're in an antique store and like this goblin figurine comes to life, or I don't know, out of a fireplace, like the ash turns into like these goblin things, and it's like, oh yeah, that's the guy that directed the Gremlins as well. Like, it just felt very much like the same thing. Man, I wish it wasn't late. I'd be getting so much more animated. I have to hold myself back. It had its cheesy moments, but altogether, like, it really wasn't that bad. But also, wasn't that good. When was this? Probably 86. Okay. Yeah, I'd say this is like, I don't know, a 3.1. Like, it's a movie. It's fine. If you want to watch a movie, it's okay. I think I've already talked about this. I have a couple of these NASA documentaries. Voyage of Friendship, John Glenn's historic flight, the first American to orbit Earth. It's fine. I'm getting rid of it now. There we go. While you were sleeping. I think that this is a funny movie. Sandra Bullock is in love with this guy that comes through the train station that she's a ticket booth person at. She's never actually talked to him though, and one day he gets pushed into the track and she saves his life, but he ends up in a coma. And in the hospital, she's there with him. Family comes around, and mistake leads to his family thinking that she's his fiance that they've never met. She is not, but she ends up falling in love with the guy's brother while he's in a coma. Chaos ensues. Yeah, it was nice. I like Sandra Bullock. It's funny. I actually ended up watching this movie once by myself and enjoying it, and then watched it again shortly after with a sibling and some in-laws and fiance, sibling, in-law, fiance. And the sibling was very much like, Sandra Bullock is so stupid for not like addressing the miscommunication about, you know, not being a fiance, and he made it a little less easy to watch, but I like made fun of him the whole way through, so it was fine. I like this movie. I give it a 3.7. Another one, Eagle House Magic. It's just a moon landing. I Am Sam. It's crazy. I'll go through like, oh so many movies and like never see a name like Michelle Pfeiffer. I didn't know she was an actress. And then all of a sudden, like, because I just pick movies out of random off my shelf. Pick movies at random off my shelf. So I don't like look at it and be like, I'm going to watch this one now. But it so often happens that like I go through phases of watching the same actors at different times. Like I had a couple movies in a row that are Danny DeVito a while back, then a couple that are like Billy Crystal. And anyway, now this is second or third that's Michelle Pfeiffer. Up Close and Personal I know was. And then a couple that are Sandra Bullock. And it's just weird. It's like all of a sudden they're there. I Am Sam. It's about this guy, Sam, who I think knocks up a hooker or something, or a prostitute, and ends up caring for the child because the prostitute doesn't want the child. Sex worker, pardon me. He has an intellectual disability where, like, they say in the movie that he has the IQ of a 7-year-old, and the daughter that he raises, this is another one, Dakota Fanning. Dakota Fanning was in Uptown Girls. As a kid, 2001. So yeah, the child quickly becomes smarter than Sam, and it's just following his life, and then we get a kind of Kramer versus Kramer thing. Actually, they reference Kramer versus Kramer in this movie, in that the city, state, whatever is trying to take the child away from Sam, but Sam's like, I'm her father, and it's a fairly sweet movie. It's one of those times where it's like, when you have a neurotypical person playing someone with a disability, sometimes it's like, but I don't know. I think he does a good job. I really like, he has like an entourage. I shouldn't say entourage. All of his friends also have different disabilities, and whenever they have a meeting of the minds, it's always very funny. I thought it was a sweet movie, honestly. Not always the perfect movie, but I felt like it was well done. And I keep finding myself acting like Sam, which is terrible, but like I'll be like, a tree, the tree's happy today. I don't know, it's stupid. Anyway, I liked it. 3.8, I'd say. Getting near a recommendation. I think this movie, 2001 Academy Award nominee, Sean Penn for Best Actor. So didn't win, I guess, but he didn't. Misty, based off of the book Misty of Chincoteague, which I read that book as a kid. I hardly paid attention to this movie. Actually, I guess I did, but it's just not that memorable. It's just a horse, Misty, that in like the Chincoteague area, Assateague, Chincoteague, that those aren't similar. One's in Virginia, right? And the other's in, I guess they're both. Okay, anyway. This like wild horse is like, or pony, is untamable or something, and these kids really like it and they want to tame it, so they do, and then it's not untamable. I don't know, like 2.9. It wasn't that interesting of a movie, but it's not like bad either. Maybe 2.8. I don't know. Shit. I don't care. Oh, here's another thing. Another Robert Redford movie. We had Up Close and Personal, and I probably already watched it, but or already reviewed it, but All the President's Men, Dustin Hoffman and Robert Redford. Anyway, Out of Africa. This one I also didn't pay attention too much. Meryl Streep. For a time there, when I think the first movie of Meryl Streep's that I like really watched, I was like, damn, Meryl Streep's a great actor, and like I never realized that. But then the more I see of her, it's like she just plays the same person every single movie she's in. So I don't actually care that much about her now. This was a long movie. 2 hours, 40 minutes. 1985. Meryl Streep, like, has a plantation in Africa or something? Yeah. A coffee plantation in Kenya. Around 1914. She falls in love with the land, its people, and the mysterious white hunter Robert Redford. Right. And she ends up with chlamydia or something and has to go back to the States. Her husband sleeps around. And I think maybe she didn't realize it. Anyway, it's a drama. It didn't really do much for me. I think Meryl Streep kind of gets to me at some point. Because she feels a little obnoxious. Which the first movie I saw of hers, it seemed like she was supposed to be playing a character that was obnoxious. What is that one called? Scream in the Night or something? It takes place in like Australia, there are Mormons or something. Anyway, she just feels annoying. In that first movie, I think she was supposed to be a little annoying, but yeah, anyway. This is a movie where I feel like I could see why people would like it, but given the way I've been watching movies, again, like it's on in the background while I'm doing other stuff, it didn't do a ton for me, so I'm going to say it's like respectably a 3, but maybe for me, like a 2.8. Delicatessen. This is I think a sci-fi or fantasy or something movie, very avant-garde feeling. It's French, it's all in French subtitles. It seems to take place in like a dystopian society. They don't actually talk about society as a whole very much, or like what is happening external to the small town that it takes place in, which I think is a great credit to the movie, that it leaves so much intrigue open. But sorry, my roommate. Trying to make sure I'm not being too loud. Basically, there's a lot of stuff that like is implied about society, the world at large. It seems like you're probably dystopian, post-apocalyptic. This small town occasionally has visitors come in to answer a help ad from the butcher in town. The butcher needs like a handyman around. Secretly though, the butcher's actually going to chop these people up and eat them. That's what he does. Chop them up rather and sell or barter their flesh to the town inhabitants. Or I think it's actually mainly apartment inhabitants. Anyway, this one person that comes to answer the wanted ad ends up falling in love with the butcher's daughter. Butcher's daughter tells him what's going on. Pardon me for 1 second. Yeah, it's a wild movie. It's really weird. Super, super weird. There's one lady that's always trying to kill herself in like really elaborate Rube Goldberg-esque ways, and they always end up falling apart fairly comedically. It's a really wild movie. In some ways it makes me feel like I hate the French even more, and in other ways it's like, this is really, really clever and well done. I'm, like, honestly, I'd say the jury's kind of out. It says that winner of Best Film honors at the Chicago International Film Festival. It's really weird. It's a weird movie. Offbeat comedy, it says. Yeah. It's a weird movie. I wish I could be yelling right now. I like to yell. Damn. It's late. 1991, rated R for violence. There's like sewer people in this, like I think they call them troglodytes or troglodytes. But it's weird. I think I recommend it. Maybe this is either a great movie or a terrible movie. I don't actually know. I'm gonna say 3.8 for right now. But I don't want to watch it again. That's the weird thing. It's like, it's good, but I don't want to see anymore. Sands of Iwo Jima, John Wayne, one of his few movies said it's not a Western. I like this. He's a grouchy captain, leader, I don't know, sergeant, a Marine sergeant during World War II. And he's got his men that he captains, sergeants. I thought it was good. Anyway, I'm not going to say much about that. It's John Wayne. If you know John Wayne movies are kind of all similar vibe. Just imagine John Wayne, but the Sands of Iwo Jima. It's good. 3.2. How can I say it was good and give it a 3.2? It's because, like, I don't know, John Wayne movies are all kind of the same. Like, it's an easy movie to watch. All John Wayne movies are just easy to watch, and yeah, that's kind of it. Cool. That's a fun movie to just sit down and knock out. Great to have on in the background. you don't need to follow it that closely. And yeah, I don't know. Good movie. 3.3. Steel Magnolias. I feel like this is a movie that, I mean, I hear Steel Magnolias all the time, you know, and I'd never seen it. And I didn't really care for it. Dolly Parton, she's great. Maybe the big issue is that it's like, oh, Sally Field's in this too. And Sally Field was in Absence of Malice. Julia Roberts is like one of the main characters in this, or if not a main character, like a main plot device. She ends up, I think she has like some physical ailment about her, and that's like a known issue. Maybe she's diabetic or something. I don't remember. I think diabetic, yeah. And then she ends up having a kid, and has like really bad post-childbirth conditions and ends up dying at some point, like towards the end of the movie. Spoiler alert. And I'm sorry, but I don't think Julia Roberts is a good actor, and I find her difficult to look at. I just really don't find her attractive at all. I don't think she looks good on screen, and yeah, I don't know, like even seeing her on the cover here, she just looks so artificial, all dressed up. I know that's not like good resolution there. It's gonna focus. She just looks weird to me. I don't know. I don't care for her at all. And it made it a little hard for me to care about the movie. This is her on the back again, I think. Yeah. I'm sorry. It's just hard. This movie's about the bond of friendship between these ladies. Sweet enough, but again, I just didn't really care about it. A rating, we'll say 3. Give it a middle of the road 3, just to be respectful. Forever Young, Mel Gibson, he's a test pilot in 1939 for the military, and the love of his life, to-be fiance, on the day that he's about to engage, she gets hit by a vehicle. Actually he's not about to. He got nervous and didn't engage. It didn't propose, but she gets hit by a vehicle, goes comatose. He's like, I'm sad. Let me do this tricky experimental science thing that the military is working on. That's a cryosleep. I'll be in there for a year, and hopefully she'll be out of the coma by then. He goes into the cryosleep, and something weird happens with like the science program that like monitors the cryosleep thing, and they forget about it and put him in a storage unit and think that it's like, I don't know, spare parts or something. It's a little cryo chamber. The doctor like the guy behind the cryotech dies or something, and basically he like wakes up by accident because Elijah Wood's in this as a kid. Elijah Wood accidentally gets him out of the cryosleep, and suddenly it's like, you know, the year 1992 it says. So, you know, he's basically transported from 1939 to 92. Jamie Lee Curtis is Elijah Wood's best friend's mom. They kind of get flirtatious, but I think that Mel Gibson is like a good man, and he's not actually into the flirtation. He's like, let me just be respectful, and he eventually tries to find the lover that he left behind, that was in a coma, who's no longer in a coma. As he tries to find her, though, it's found out kind of the flaw in the technology of the cryosleep is your DNA or something knows that time has passed and knows that you've aged, and so it starts to catch up to him really quickly. And so, like, physically he came out of the cryosleep still, like, I don't know, 30 years old, but in the course of a couple days he ages up to like 80 years old. So yeah, he gets old really quick, but at the end he finds the lady he left behind, and it's kind of sweet. They get to fall in love. really late though. Forever Young. It's sad that this is like genre-less, I think, a sci-fi movie. Um, I thought it was fine. It was interesting enough, sweet, fun. Elijah Wood flies a Flying Fortress B-17 or whatever. B-25? That's what it says, B-25 on the back. Anyway, I give it a 3.4. We're not getting a very big swath of ratings here. Paul Newman, Nobody's Fool. I don't really know what happened in this movie. Like, I remembered, but like, what are the points? I guess this guy, Paul, he doesn't really have a relationship with his son, but then he starts to have a relationship with his son again, and a grandson, and kind of deal of like, he's being a better father to his grandson than he was to his son, and those dynamics come out. He's a blue-collar worker. I don't actually remember if anything happened. Yeah, I don't remember really what happened in this. I don't remember it being a bad movie, but probably a boring movie, so I don't know, let's say 2.8. 2.7. I think I remember being pretty bored when it was on. The Ghost in the Darkness. This I actually liked. This is Michael Douglas and Val Kilmer, even though Michael Douglas is not in the movie very much, but he still appears first here, which means that he's paid more to be in it than Val Kilmer. Val Kilmer was in the whole movie. Kilmer, sorry. I try to talk quietly and my language goes crazy. My pronunciation. Basically, Val is hired to go to Pakistan or something? East Africa. Set in 1896 East Africa. There are 2 lions that are killing people. Man killers. And Val Kilmer is hired to, I think, both oversee the construction of this railway that they're building, and then also to kill these lions, ultimately. The lions are killing for sport, it seems, and he has a lot of trouble killing them. And eventually Michael Douglas comes in to help, and it's actually pretty well done. So far, this actually might be one of like the better movies in my mind. Of just like, I don't know, it's a good movie that like I'd watch again. Yeah, I thought it was good. A couple cheesy moments here and there, but otherwise, yeah, I give it a 4 star. Good movie. Oh, cool, we're moving on to a different pile. This is stuff that I've watched very recently now. MASH I just finished today. Really bummed. I'd been saving this movie to like watch, like to watch in a sitting where I'm not just like having it go in the background. I wanted to like actually sit down and watch it because I love MASH the show. So I wanted to like really give attention to the movie. The movie's kind of shit. Like, it's not entirely clear what the main plot is. My roommate says it's the fact that a dentist in the MASH unit, named Dr. Painless or something, wants to kill himself. Thus the song Suicide is Painless. Da, 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 da. Anyway, but that happens at like the midpoint of the movie, if not earlier, and the rest is just like Hawkeye and Trapper playing pranks on people, or like otherwise just doing crazy stuff, and then like a fair amount of time is spent in Japan where they're doing surgery on someone, and then like the end of the movie there's like a football game for quite some time. It's just like, it's aimless. It's, in my mind, it wasn't even that funny. Donald Sutherland, Tom Skerritt, and Elliot Gould. Yeah, I just didn't care for it at all. I was really bummed. I had saved this for so long, and like I'd even put it on a section of my shelf that is like reserved for only like, you know, movies that I really like that I'm planning on keeping and not just getting rid of. And I also just love the cover art. It's a good looking It's a good looking movie, I think. But I'm getting rid of it because kind of a dog shit movie. I felt like even the casting just wasn't very good in this, which I'm definitely biased because I've seen the show and like I know Alan Alda and the other people's names, and they just fit the roles so well. But this is just really disappointing. Yeah, I don't know. I give it like a. It's weird because like if you're a fan of the show, you have to see the movie, of course, but it's disappointing to watch the movie. I give it like a 1.9, maybe even less due to the disappointing rating. Due to the disappointment factor, 1.7 because it was so disappointing. The Cowboys, another John Wayne. John Wayne is a rancher. He has to drive cattle to someplace, and all his normal cowboys have gone off to the gold rush. So he enlists the help of a bunch of kids. It teaches them how to be cowboys, kind of like children to him. Eventually some baddies catch up to them and steal their cattle, and they end up killing John Wayne, which I was surprised to see John Wayne die in the movie. I figured that he'd make it to the end, which is a nice surprise that he did die. And then the kids all avenge his death in a pretty cool way with this one, this guy, I wonder if they name him here, Roscoe Lee Brown perhaps. Music by John Williams. That's fair. They did, in this movie, they did do like an overture at the beginning, and then exit, they played like all of the music from the song, from the movie. And it's good music. So good on you, John Williams. Yeah, the Chuck Wagon, the cook, is this black guy that they had on, and all the kids are like, I've never seen a black guy. They say the N-word a lot in this movie. 1971. It's the time. This was like, takes place in the 1850s, 1860s, probably. I thought it was good. I thought it was a pretty good movie. And like for the John Wayne movies I've seen, I thought it was one of the better ones so far. Which I haven't seen all of them, but I still thought it was one of the better. I'm gonna give it a 3.9. Entertaining, sweet, heartfelt. Cecil DeMille's The Ten Commandments. I've had this tucked away for quite some time. I feel like this is a really iconic movie, because it's like one of the bigger production like Bible story movies out there. It was a two-parter, so it was a long-ass movie. How long was it? Like 3 hours? $219 minutes, 6, 12, 18. Shit. That's 3 hours, 40 minutes, right? 1956. Really wonderful sets. Like, this had to be a pretty high-budget movie. One of the things that, I know I've probably said this tons of times, but that I hate about modern movies is how much CGI is used. Like, the art of set making is gone at this point. And like you could have pretty low budget movies back in the day that still had really well done sets, because like all you need is a good artist, and like just pay them a little bit of money, and like they can just make some really good set pieces or miniatures or whatever. And in a movie you can really tell when something is a real set piece versus CGI. Like in Wicked, the first one, like there are scenes in, I think, the Wizard and I song where like Elphaba's like running around Shiz, and it's really clear what parts of Shiz are CGI and what parts are real sets, and the amount of real set in that movie was super great. Like it added to just the pow effect of the movie. So I love actual sets. This movie, so many different sets, so elaborate they were. The costume design, at times it felt a little like theater wardrobe room, whatever, like high school theater. But also it's like, looking at some of them, it's like, I mean, what did, the Pharaoh, the Egyptians wear at that time? It's like the classic Egyptian look. Just like sometimes, I don't know, people would be like, all these Egyptians would be wearing like all red and then all blue, kind of looked like Halo teams or something. But yeah, really great acting, like very theatrical. At times it wasn't like the most interesting, I'd say, but I think overall it was pretty well done. It's a hard ask to watch for 3 hours and 40 minutes. Did I do that math right? Like 6, 12, 18, 24. Yeah. Totally. 219 minutes should be 3 hours, 40 minutes. 39 minutes. But yeah, it's a good movie. I mean, again, I had it like going in the background, and that's probably the best way to do it. Yeah, it was good. I enjoyed it. I will not watch it again because it takes so much time, but I'm glad to have watched it once. The actual scene, like when they do have their exodus from Egypt, and the people like rebelling against God and like doubting God will like, you know, deliver them from the Egyptians as the Egyptians chase them to like the Red Sea, and then the sea gets parted, and then Moses goes up on Sinai to receive the Ten Commandments, and the people make the golden calf. Like the way that people are stirred up against God in all those instances, it feels so like on the nose and obnoxious, but it also feels so real. Like there's just this one guy that's like constantly riling the people up to like doubt, and you know, it just felt well done. I give it like 3.94. I don't know. I don't know. It's very epic. Like I said, there are definitely slow parts. Like there are times where it's like, yeah, this could not be a great movie, but it's so epic and it is really well done. And it like tells the story even in the slow parts. So it's hard to really say. For as epic as it is, I feel like it has to say that before. But like the slow parts, and also it's, what was it, 1954? 1956. So like, for a modern movie, the pacing is maybe not what we would want because we can't pay attention. So at times, like, I want to give it a lower rating because it's like, it just gets slow. But it is so epic, and I don't know, it's hard to not give it a higher rating. First Wives Club. These three gals are all first wives of people that like remarry or something, and they just kind of bitch and complain about their exes, and it's pretty fucking obnoxious. I thought I'd like it because it's Goldie Hawn and Diane Keaton, I guess, Betty Midler, whatever. But no, I didn't finish it. It was pretty obnoxious. So, which, yeah, anyway. Okay, Homestretch. I think I've actually already reviewed these, so I'm not gonna, again, Citizen Kane. I need to rewatch it when I'm in a better state of mind, because I didn't get it, but I know it's supposed to be a complicated movie, but usually I can focus in enough to decode. Yeah, I already talked about conspiracy theory. I don't need to talk about Harry Potter. I don't know if I talked about The Patriot, Mel Gibson. Bloodier than I would have thought. The Long Kiss Goodnight, Samuel L. Jackson, and Gina Davis. Pretty intense. She remembers that she's a spy. And Scarface, a little disappointing. For us, like, iconic as I feel like it is. Say hello to my little friend. Anyway, that's it. Okay. It's 12:20. This took about an hour. Great.